Hello, I'm Copeman from Housing Options.
Okay, and you're here today talking about housing.
Talking about how we can make it easier for more people with learning disabilities to have a choice about where they live. Well, the idea behind a menu is that in those areas where people do have a choice, what we find is that clearly by definition there will be more than one housing possibility. And in those local authority areas where there are more choices available, the idea, the concept of having a menu, rather like you walk into a restaurant and there are different choices available to you, in housing terms that would mean that there are different renting possibilities, renting from a council, from a housing association, from a housing charity, from a private sector landlord, but also possibly ownership opportunities, either outright ownership or some form of shared ownership, and possibly ways in which families could use their own money to either buy or part buy or contribute towards a home for their son or daughter. It might also include things like shared lives, which is a form of adult family placement, so having a range of different options that make up that menu. There are I feel like there's some quite big challenges which are about the way in which there just isn't enough housing available, particularly in some parts of the country, which means that people with learning disabilities are competing with a whole range of other people, particularly for what you might call social rented affordable housing from councils or housing associations, which is why the idea of a menu which includes private sector options is really important. We know that the amount of money that's coming from government to local authorities, but also to the Homes and Communities Agency, is reducing, which implies that there will have to be more money coming from private sources, private developers, or from families, for more and more people to take up an option that they're interested in having access to. At a sort of individual level, we still see problems related to people being told that they can't hold a tenancy or can't hold a mortgage, which is an inappropriate understanding or an inaccurate understanding of the terms of the Mental Capacity Act. And there are other ways in which people are being, their choices are being limited in ways that are kind of unnecessary, including in some areas that they've found routes of getting around those problems.
Okay, but you've also seen, obviously, evidence of good practice as well. So
yes, and certainly in some areas we've seen some local authorities have produced very good local guides of how to get access to different kind of housing options and choices, which is specifically targeted at either people with learning disabilities and their families.